Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, absolutely non-league show, the show dedicated to everything from National League North, and National League South. And before anybody comments, yes, I am still smiling. I am still smiling. But I'm really excited for today. Don't get me wrong. Not the best of weeks for my team, but there's a lot of football to get through. We do have a double game week and an Easter special. Wasn't a good Friday for myself, but you never know. Maybe a good Friday for other people. I don't know if it was for you, Ben, or you, Rob, but we shall find out. Yeah, not great. So good Friday for you, Ben?
No, it was,
yes. But Ben, first and foremost, how are you and how was your Easter, football aside?
Yeah, nice. We just had the family round and that. Just got to see some mates as well that I haven't seen for a while. So, apart from that, always helps though. Then, like, so your side does do well over Easter break. It makes it a little bit better. But yeah, no, it's been all right. Not sure if I'm ready to go back to work tomorrow, but that's life these days. How are you, Shah?
Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, I'm still smiling. So anybody in the chat that's come to troll me, don't. I'll just smile at you. I'm smiling through gritted teeth at the moment.
Smile and wave, Shah. Smile and wave.
Exactly. Rob, how are you? How's your Easter been and your weekend? And first and foremost, I did forget to mention, as always, this is a collaboration with NL Fulltime.
Yeah, absolutely, and we really are. It's from our point to you. It's from our perspective to you. It's very much a collaboration today as well, because we're skipping our pod this weekend, and Dickie's going to join us very shortly. So two of us on. Just between us, we've got Joe travelling back on train at the moment. Christian travelling back to Boston via Lincoln, I believe, from his game, and Tom coming back down from York. So it's a little bit too crazy. But to answer your question, amazing weekend, doing absolutely nothing all of Saturday, all of Sunday. Just a lovely, relaxing time with my wife, because we never get that. It's always, I'm traveling here, I'm traveling there. We just start to spend time together, and then I'm off to football. And so that was lovely. I quite like the format of a game on Friday and a game on Monday, and then 48 hours in between to do other stuff. Wasn't great on the pitch, but listen, hopefully the viewers couldn't tell anything about our football results when the titles rolled, because we all came on with big smiles, didn't we?
Exactly. We do have a lot of people in the chat as well, may I add. So we will get to it. We have Luke in the chat. He's put, I have Welborough Town match day programme. Oh, love that. I hope you're okay, Luke, as well. We've got Spenny fan Chris. Good evening, folks. Travelling back from the Scarborough game at the moment, but almost home. One more away game after this. We have got as well, oh no, the York fans are here on time. Damn, I am only joking. It's good to see you as well. Evening all. Sorry about your loss, Chris. Dislike Scarborough greatly. We will get on to National League North when Dickie does come. We've got Steve as well. Evening all. Really happy. I dragged my backside to Chesham today. Oh, no. I saw that. I saw it. For some reason on my flash score, they're one of my scores that come up, and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's from when they've played Maidstone or something, but for some reason...
Do you have Slough in your life?
No, it's not even Slough.
Oh, it's Cheshire.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Even when I turn it off on my flash score, they pop back up again.
Alex Horns hacked into your phone, I think, clearly.
I know. Could be worse, I guess. It could be Oldham.
That is true.
Cheers, mate. Wasn't a great game on that pitch, but still have chance with 3 games to go. We've got Graham as well. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Graham. Hope you're okay. Evening, everybody. Evening. Hope you're okay as well. Could be worse. You could be an off. That is true. That is true, Sean. You've made me feel better. Thank you. I'm joking. I'm joking. Hi from York. Hope everyone's okay. Very well, thank you. Nah. If I go off, I'm just having a cry in the corner. We have Matt as well. Evening all, happy Easter. Did you get any Yorkie Easter egg share? I didn't get Yorkie ones. I got a mini eggs one though, and I got a Munchies one. Munchies is my favourite. I do love Munchies. National League again, ole ole, because we're safe. It's fantastic news.
Not that they did anything today to help that, but
I know. Evening, guys. Just a reminder that York City are magic. They are magic. But we do have
they're
to
very
start...
good at appearing out of nothing, aren't they? When there's
Exactly. Where have you all been? I'm joking. We are going to start, and I'm not doing National League. I have to mentally prepare myself for National League first. So we're going to go all the way. Oh my gosh, what has happened? That's because I set it up for 4 people. Yes. Okay. So I'm blaming Dickie at the minute. Where's my free layout? Where have you gone?
For some reason, Ben still looks good, but I look a bit squashed and we can only see half of you.
I know, I've just got a proper like.
There we go.
There we go. So we are going to start in the north. We're going all the way back to Friday, even though it was only a few days ago. It seems like a lifetime ago.
The South Shire.
South. Yeah. Oh, my head's gone. Ben, where do you want to start with the South?
There's actually quite a few places to start, to be honest, really. But I think I've got to go with Cheshire, actually, at Hemel Hempstead. Hemel have been unbelievable this season in what they've achieved. And do you know what? Cheshire have been a side that have gone completely under the radar all season long. You know, no one's really talks about them because they haven't really been in that top 7. They've been chasing the pack for quite a while now. But to go away from home against a Hemel side who are very strong at home, by the way, usually, 3-0 win, you know, and it's sort of a localish game for them as well. That's really given, you know, their playoff hopes a real boost now. I mean, obviously, you know, we'll obviously talk about today's results as well. But yeah, that's an amazing 3 points. And it's really strange because I was talking about this with a few people today. Like Hemel have gone from a place where, was it this time last week? You know, was it when they were playing Dorking? You know, they were, the title was in their control for a little bit. You know, whilst they were 1-0 up, it was all in their hands. And now all of a sudden they're in a place now where they might not even make the playoffs. It's like it's been that close this season. And I think they've gone now, was it 3 games without scoring a goal? So that worried Lee Alice a little bit. It's probably the worst time for it to happen. But got to give Michael Murray and James Duncan a lot of credit because, you know, again, they've built a very strong side this year. They absolutely battered us when we went there a few weeks ago. You know, they're a very strong outfit. I think if they could sneak into playoffs, I think they would be well deserving of it, to be honest, really. But still a lot of football to be played in the next 3 weeks. But yeah, that's probably the standout for me.
Definitely. I just want to say to everyone in the chat as well, it is a doubled game week. So if we don't cover all the games, you obviously know the reasoning why, because we do have a lot of football to get through. So I just wanted to send any apologies now if there is a particular game we do not mention. It's not on purpose. It's just because we have a lot of fixtures. Rob, any on here you want to talk about or give a mention to?
Yeah, I think for me, Worthing 2, Eastbourne Borough 1 for a couple of reasons. I think Eastbourne took the lead in this game and it was looking a bit dodgy for Worthing, who've come back into it, got level and then scored a 94th minute winner. And as we'll come on to, they've done something similar today and they've really elevated themselves into the picture for the title race now. And at this point in time will be slight favourites, which I don't think anybody saw coming a couple of weeks ago. I think we recognised that Dorking had somehow been picking up points despite being fairly shorn of players. And they got themselves a little bit of a buffer, but that buffer's been eroded now. And this game, with them coming back late to win, it was a real dagger to the heart of Eastbourne Borough, who kind of have been limping towards the finality that they were going down anyway. And that has been confirmed now today, along with Enfield. Those 2 sides, unfortunately, have gone down. But the other point of note from the game, not just the 94th minute winner, but the scorer of it and the irony, Joe Cook, a former Dorking Wanderers player. Ben,
I'm going to come back to you. Apart from the Maidstone game, which you can touch on, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you if there's any other standouts.
I mean,
or if there's any news as well. Any news going into National League South?
Obviously, the big news came, within the last week. Obviously, probably about the day after. I think we had our last show. I think possibly.
Yeah, it always works like that, doesn't it? It always works the day after, or that night when we sign off.
Exactly. Like it feels like a long time ago. Obviously, you're talking about Friday being a long time ago. Last week, seems like a year ago. So Angela Harrop's now obviously been sacked from Chelmsford City, which I think we've all got our different opinions in it, to be fair. I think we were all having a little bit of a chat of it in our group chat. And, I saw it personally, the fact that, look, he's been given what he's wanted this year. Yes, they have had to build basically a brand new squad, but it's a squad that was more than good enough to win this league. And if not, be strong contenders for a high playoff finish. They're not even in the playoffs yet. And ultimately, that task has been failed, and they've obviously turned to Ricky Holmes, one of their players, very experienced player, by the way, at this level, and actually a great player in his day, to see if he can get a tune out of them for that last sort of 3-4 games. And, they've obviously come up trumps with a big win over Enfield Town, and Enfield, they're fighting for that. Well, they obviously were fighting for their lives. Obviously, again, they've been confirmed as relegated today as well. But Chelmsford, I think when they do get going, they are a force. And, the trouble is with them and like a few teams in and around the playoff area, they've just been so inconsistent and just haven't got that run of form going, to give themselves a real chance. But, that would have been a big morale booster in that, because obviously a lot of people would have gone, are we not so sure? Is it maybe happened a bit too late for them? But look, they've done what they needed to do today anyway to get it done. On Friday. Obviously, today being a bit of a different spectacle for them. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame with Ranger Harrop, because obviously won promotion with this league before with Braintree, but just I think it was a bit too much of a big task for him. And I'll be interested to see how it all comes to fruition, if it pays off for them, or if they're going to be suffering yet another year in this division.
Definitely, Ben. Definitely. Evening, Dickie. How are you?
Thank you. Yes, I suppose bearing in mind Telford's playoff chances just about vanished today. Yeah, I'm in decent form, I think. Good to hear.
Good to hear. Just quickly going into the chat, we do have a match report from Steve, which I will get onto. I'm just weighing up if it's for this one or if it's for the last one. It's for this one.
Yeah.
So I will read it out. Just bear with me, guys. And as well, thank you to all the York fans dropping in. I do see you. You're not going to get a rise out of me, though. You've not had one all season, so you're definitely not getting one now.
He's not getting too high after a win and not too low after a draw. It's a draw. Yeah. It's another clean sheet for Rochdale.
It is.
Leave her alone.
Well, I just feel like they're multiplying. Every time I check the chat, there's more and more of them. But we do have a match report. It's from Steve. So obviously the Slough game versus Maidenhead. You'd think in a derby you would at least turn up, and we didn't for 60 minutes. Lucky to only be 2-0 down before we got a penalty, which we missed, but really started to play after that. We got one back on the 73rd minute before turning up the pressure and getting the equaliser on 90+8, which was great. Still not lost to Maidenhead at home since 1966, and it's been wonderful to see the Maidenhead fans take on Twitter. Absolutely made my weekend. I love late goals as well, just not when they're not for me. I didn't like the one today. But it must have been limbs as well. Does anybody just really love a late goal when it's from your team? 90+, it's just, there's no better feeling, is there, than a real late goal.
Yeah, it all sort of really kicks off after that. I mean, I think it's worth touching on that, to be fair. I mean, fair play to Slab, by the way, for getting back into that. But then obviously after the late equaliser, I think a lot of people would probably seen on social media the outbreak that happened between both benches and both Ryan Peters and Scott Davis at each other. It's quite... Only in non-league football you get things like that, personally. But yeah, those obviously ended up in a few match reports. Reports the referees probably had to put together for the league. I mean, obviously both sides will probably end up getting a fine from the league for that. For players going out of control. But yeah, I mean, that's what you want in some way in a derby game, though, isn't it? You know, we say a lot of derbies now haven't got the same feel about it, but in that that particular moment, that was certainly, feeling that the game was certainly back, in my opinion. So, yeah, I certainly would have thought that'd been a good place to be at Arbor Park.
Definitely. Just going quickly to the chat as well, we do have some of our Absolute Football podcast team giving us some moral support. Driti is here. She's put, evening all. Hope everyone is well today. And we do have our very own Sam as well. He has put, evening everyone, some moral support for Sharp. Also, if Ben got as many Easter eggs as goals this afternoon, he's in cahoots with the Easter Bunny. Did you get as many Easter eggs as goals, Ben?
No. I think I had as many Easter eggs after about 12 minutes of the game today. So that's probably where I am. If I had that many, I think I'd be sitting with a bucket right now.
Definitely. You definitely wouldn't be talking football anyway, would you? Do you want to talk Maidstone?
Yeah, I'll just quickly brief touch on it. Like I say, it wasn't obviously the best spectacle in comparison to today's one. But no, really professional performance from the players in the local derby. That Dover, it was actually an awkward game because Dover have saved pretty much and they didn't really have much to play for. So obviously they want to come and spoil our season. They started off the better. They hit the crossbar twice, but once we got a goal, we're a bit fortunate. It wasn't an own goal at the end. Christy Patterson shooting. I don't know who it came off, to be fair, in the end, because unfortunately we weren't allowed to film the game. So I wouldn't be able to tell you that, unfortunately. And then, look, we've sort of taken control. Dover just didn't seem at the races. They huffed and puffed, but they didn't really put us under any huge danger. And then obviously towards the end of the game, the game started to open up. We created a few more chances. Mitch Walker had to got called into a few more saves. And then Jeff D. Tanga sealed the deal with virtually the last kick of the game, pretty much. And again, it is just all about winning at the moment. And, going to, your local rivals, pitch wasn't the best either. So it made it a bit of a level. And obviously the conditions weren't great either. Then there was rain and wind. So, but we adapted it a lot better. Yeah, Graham, I'm not going to touch on there. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. I'm not going to say anything on it. I'll put my face to them about it. But yeah, no, really happy with it. And set up for what was a great game today.
Just quickly going back to the chat as well. Horsham beating Dorking. They have been on a bit of a slide of late and destroyed their rivals in the A24 derby.
Yeah, good win that for Horsham. It sealed their place in the National League South for next year as well. So congratulations to Dom and everybody at Horsham who've been a credit to the National League South this year.
Yeah, definitely. Graham's put Desmond Claxon. There's also Sean who's mentioned in Luke's place. He's gutted because there's no 0-0s on here. None at all. And we've got as well, we will get on to obviously the fixtures from today. Then today, Dorking slipped up again to another side from down at A24, losing top spot to Worthing. We will come on to that. Before we move on to today's games, is there anything anybody wants to add on Friday's games?
Just the only other one, I think, probably Bath City. I know they're pretty much with today's results, they're pretty much gone as well, to be honest, unless barring an absolute miracle. But, Scott Wilson scoring, being the 4th minute of added time in, what's a big derby game between the two sides and probably one of the bigger derby games they've had in recent years, given that what was at stake. And it was great to see, the celebrations of the Bath fans. They've had a very tough season, way beyond, way below their expectations. But, look, it's a rare moment, of quality in a season that just hasn't given them a lot. But that's the thing. Chippenham will be really gutted, I'm sure, about that because they needed to win that game, in my opinion, to give themselves a chance. But I think that's pretty much gone. But no, well done to Bath. Got a lot of time for them. So, Fortunately, it didn't pay off them today, unfortunately.
Yeah, and worth mentioning as well that the real battle for who might survive at the bottom was between Farnborough and Chippenham, as you say. Yeah. And they both lost on this game day, and as we'll see in a minute, they both won today. So I think if it's one of those, isn't it? People sort of say we've got to do our own business, but you're telling me they're not getting in that dressing room and scrambling for their phones to see the other results. And, ironically, they've both done the same thing today and they've both won, but that doesn't really help Chippenham, as Ben as Ben says. So it's likely to be goodbye for them. But fair play to them. They've been punching for years, Chippenham, to stay in this league, and everybody writes them off every year. They're always one of the four that people pick to say they're going to go down, and for season after season they haven't. But this year they probably will. So that's that. And we moved on to today now. I can't see him.
Yes.
That's a lovely slinky little move on there.
I've got skills.
Well, we've clearly got a game of the day, and it does involve Ben's team. Are we going to let him at it, or are we going to...
Should we, or should we be cruel?
let's make him wait. As the three others out on here whose teams haven't won today, let's make him wait. Let's get him keep his...
Fine by me.
We're only jealous.
I wouldn't be.
Just really quickly, though, I'm thinking this is aimed at Torquay. Yeovil Rejects FC doing good over Easter. I'm guessing that's aimed at Torquay because I know he has a little bit of back and forth with Joe when he's on.
Yeah, he definitely is. It was a 3-0 away win, wasn't it, on Friday, and then a 4-1 win at home to Bath. And credit to Jimmy Ball, who's gone in there and he's changed the momentum around. They're actually up to third place after today. Now, ironically, they're probably not going to challenge for the title, but ironically, even despite being up to third and on the back of 2 wins, it's still very tight. And, they've all got to take care of business up there to make sure that they do still finish in the playoffs. But there's one obvious game of the day, and obviously we'll come to you on that in a sec, Ben. Do you want me to take the big
on,
one?
Rob. We'll do every other game on here apart from Ben's. We'll prolong it.
The reason I want to pick it is not because I know regular viewers and listeners to NL Full Time will know I've got a soft spot for Dorking, like a lot of people have, and for Mark. Just eerily how I've called what was going to happen in that game today. I do a prediction thing with Joe, and he did think Dorking would win, and I said I'm not sure. I think they need a lead to protect going into that game late on, because it'll get to the last 20 minutes, and if it's all tight and all square, Worthing are going to have options off the bench and Dorking aren't, and that's exactly what happened. I've seen a couple of minutes of Mark's post-match, and it's pretty much what he was talking about. He's been incredibly sporting, by the way. Said full credit to Worthing, full credit to their fans. He said from a footballing point of view, just how good is it that a team will run through brick walls, keep going, find late winners. They've done it back-to-back, Friday and Monday. And as a result, Worthing now sit top on goal difference. Interestingly, some people build that game as winner takes all. I completely disagree. A draw would have been a good result for Dorking, and if they'd won, they would have took a huge step towards it. But what we've got now is 2 teams level on points with 3 games left. Yes, Dorking have to better Worthing's results in the last 3 games. But as Ben well knows, at least one of Worthing's remaining games is going to be a tough one, away to a Maidstone team that are now in form and are pushing hard against the odds, Ben. You said it last year, and I said, nah, you'll make it. And you said it again. Tell us about Maidstone 5, Hornchurch 4.
I mean, all I've got to say is I covered a game 5 years ago against Hornchurch, and that ended 5-4 as well. And that was a FA Trophy game, and we were actually on the wrong end of it. So it's actually nice to be on the right side of it for a change. So, I mean, it always provides entertainment anyway. It was a game that just both teams just didn't want to defend. I swear. I mean,
well, they did in the last half an hour, didn't they?
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
All the goals scored in the first 15 minutes.
I mean, look, we raced it into a 3-goal lead after 12 minutes. Like John Gilbert scores a goalkeeper mistake. He probably should have held on to the ball. Riley Court gets a second a couple of minutes later, and then Hamza Cargbo adds one. 12 minutes in, and you're thinking like this could be like another Enfield. We're going to do them 8-0, and then to be fair to Hornchurch and Darryl McMahon, they changed tactics. They did the obligatory, keeper go down with fake injury so they can get him in. He brought on Angelo Belanto. Obviously, he's a very experienced, winger, both at this level and the level above. So we know what capable, qualities that he brings to their side. And they did start to play a lot better. And, the thing is that we didn't adapt to their change of tactics. Obviously, they tried to put a lot of long throws in, a lot of crosses. and we just couldn't handle it once. But they put Balanta on. A couple of goals. Josh Reed's got one back, and I think then Balanta pulled up, put another one in. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh God, we are going to chuck this away. And then Taylor Ferran scores a fourth goal, like from 3 yards out. I don't know why he was at the other end of the pitch anyway, as basically being a central defender. But it was just one of those games. And then, we're thinking 4-2, let's get to that at half time. And then, again, we've gifted them another goal from another restart from Josh Rees again. Just couldn't clear our lines. And they got a free kick right on the stroke of half time. And I said to the people, the guys next to me in the media team, I said they're going to score from this, and like jokingly. And then all of a sudden, Balanta at the back post scores the equaliser. So you chucked away a 3-goal lead in the first half. I don't think I've ever seen a Maidstone game, or many games for that matter, where it's ended 4-4 at half time.
Has any of our viewers ever been at a game that's been 4-4 at half time? That is crazy.
No,
it was. And that's the thing. I was really scared actually, because I thought it surely can't continue in the second half, because both managers have got to sort defences out, because, as much as we can praise attacking and everything, both defences were a shambles. I mean, the thing is, we could have been 4-0 up before they'd even got one back. They made a big mistake. And then second half, both sides have clearly been told to reset. And as George Elokobi said in the interview to me, he said, look, we basically said it's 0-0 now, lads, because we restart again. And, that sort of mindset works a little bit, because it could have been so easy to be panicked. They bottled a 3-0 lead, and the crowd were starting to get on top of them. But then captain, fantastic, Sam Corn, who hasn't been amongst the goals this season, pops up with one about just over half an hour to go. A good finish in the bottom left-hand corner. And then, you're thinking, right, okay, this time, let's just relax things, let's try and do things the way that we've been doing it all season. And to be fair to the lads, they did. Hornchurch still had, their chances. Of course they did. But that could have been anything. Even in the second half, there were still chances for both sides. It was a crazy, crazy game. If you're a neutral, it's an amazing advert for the National League South, just constant goals at each end. But both managers, I'm sure, would have been tearing their hair out afterwards. But George was actually, I thought he was going to be really angry with the defence, but he's like saying, look, the players could be forgiven. They got a bit relaxed, but then they stepped it up again. And I think they deserve so much credit. These group of players, about 10 games ago, we said our season was done. With 8 points off the playoffs, we were sitting in the bottom half of the table. We've now won 8 of the last 10. And, that's a great return. That's playoff form. And I just feel like, is it too late, though? That's the thing. I mean, I'm looking at the table, and obviously I know it's not going to happen, but with 3 games to go, we can still mathematically win the league. So, it's almost like that's how close it's been this season. Yeah. And I know a lot of the teams around us have still got to play each other as well. So there's a big couple of weeks ahead. I mean, as obviously Rob touched on, we've still got to play Worthing, who may have to come to us and get a win, obviously to potentially maybe seal the title. Who knows? And then we've got Horsham and Bath. Bath are probably going to be relegated by that point on the last day of the season. Horsham, who again haven't got much to play for now, but we always struggle when we go there. So it's still, I still like to think if we win the last 3 games, that should be enough to get us in the playoffs. But it's so hard to say. But teams will drop points around us, and that's what we've got to be ready to pounce, because we haven't done that enough this season. My biggest thing is if we've been so much better at game management this year, we'd be where Worthing are. I really think that, because we've dropped so many silly points from late in games from winning positions. And, you think we turn 3 of those draws that we let at the start of the season to wins, we'd be 2 points off the top. And that's not even taking into account we've lost to a few of the bottom teams as well. We lost to the bottom 2 in the last week, in 1 week. So, yeah, it's still a lot to play for. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but the good thing is I'm really glad that we've still got something to play for in the last 3 games, because there is no pressure on us. The pressure's on the teams that are in the top 7 now. So great out of the league. And I will say, big credit to Hornchurch as well for their comeback, because that could have been so easy for them to fold, but they kept coming back and they were absolutely outstanding. And look, even if they win their game in hand, they're still in the title race. They're only going to be 2 points off it, and it's still all to play for, in my opinion. But they would have taken some positives out of it. Attacking wise, defensively, they need to shore up. But yeah, crazy afternoon at the Gallagher, put it that way.
The opposite to that craziness was probably at Enfield, where it was 0-0. So a word for Luke, who's not here. We have got a 0-0. Just not a great Easter for Hemel, really. They look the most vulnerable of the teams in the playoff positions. They've lost 3-0 and drawn 0-0. against the side effectively or already relegated. So no goals over Easter for Hemel, and they'll be looking nervously over their shoulder, certainly at Chesham, certainly at Maidstone, and also Weston-super-Mare, who've got the same number of points as Maidstone, Ben, but a game in hand, and even Chelmsford. I mean, that looks less and less likely, doesn't it? But also got a game in hand. And Chelmsford haven't had a bad Easter, considering they got rid of their manager. They picked up 4 points. Never easy to go to Dagenham. That looks like it might have been the second best game of the day.
Definitely. What I've noticed as well throughout the whole of like today in particular, across all 3 leagues, there's been a lot of red cards. Don't know if they've had too much chocolate and it's gone to their heads, but there's been a lot of red cards in the games. We do have a match report as well from the Slough game. So Chesham away, absolute disgrace today from minute 1 to 90+4. We were second best all over the pitch, didn't look bothered and never turned up. Should have been more if it wasn't for our goalkeeper, who was the only player to put a shift in. There isn't a single nice thing I can say about my team today. Very, very frustrated, Steve, in the chat from a Slough perspective.
He's not the only one frustrated with that. Thanks, Steve. You only had one job and get a result against it.
Love it. Love it. We did have this from Graham as well, what made me laugh. Bath, the only team with 2 acceptable pronunciations, Bath for us Southerners and Bath for the Northerners.
Sounded so posh there, Char.
Bath, and then you got me going Bath. It's true though, isn't it? Say it, Ben. Say it.
Bath. Bath.
I'm a Bath. What about in the Midlands, Dickie?
What? How do we say that? Personally, it's Bath to me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just starting to get a bit right. I've got you on the north.
Yeah, I've got northern roots. So
You
I've got a northern dad, so that might be why.
I'll have you know, my mother and father honeymooned in Bath. Don't you know? honeymooned in Bath. Yeah.
I think if we did it on a scale of 1 to 4, 1 being the most like, I don't want to say, yeah, I'll say common because it's me. For most common, I think I'll be number 1 going Bath. I think I'm definitely that. Is there any other games anybody wants to touch on before we move on? This is true as well.
Just credit to Weston-super-Mare for bouncing back with a 2-1 win at Salisbury after their defeat to Torquay and leaving themselves still fighting. You know that that ridiculous finish we had for the title race last year where 6 teams could do it. I wonder if the playoffs is definitely going to go to the last day, Ben, and I suspect there might just be, let me say, maybe the top 4's probably just about done then and safe, but there might be 8 or 9 teams that could still finish in the other playoff places on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think right down to Chelmsford anyway, that's for sure, right? Dagenham and Redbridge probably already said goodbye to any faint hopes, didn't they? But anything from that game today? I haven't had a chance to look at it, Ben, but sounds like a cracker, doesn't it? 3-3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure again Chelmsford, like I say, played with 10 men for quite a while. I think it was a 96-minute penalty. I'm pretty sure they got on the draw.
And again, 97-minute goal.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've just about. I think that was a massive point for them in terms of the context. Because I think had they lost that, I think they probably would be saying we're probably going to struggle to make the playoffs. Because obviously, if they won their game in hand, they'd be level on points with I think us and Western as well. So there would have been that, and I think their goal difference probably doesn't help at the moment in comparison. But yeah, to be fair, actually, they only had I had Archie Tampin sent off 83 minutes in, but to be fair, they were 2-1 down. So the fact they've scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes with 10 men has got to give them, credit. I mean, I was going to, actually big up, to be honest, Maidenhead, actually, because they were 10 men after 7 minutes. They went a goal down to Hampton and obviously found a way to win, which again is a sign of a top side. And, again, that would be the sort of game where you think, well, look, if they are going to be serious challengers, that'll be the sort of game where they'll slip up, because Hampton, again, they probably just want to finish the season on a high again. And there's also a localish game for them as well, so there would have been that aspect of it. But look, that's a good win for Maidenhead. Probably the most hard-fought they've had to get this season, to be honest. And that is crucial, because had they dropped points in that, we'd obviously got Chesham, obviously us, Western, and Chelmsford all breathing down their necks. But it's just give them a tiny little bit of cushion again. So don't worry, Steve, I'm with you on that as well. So. But yeah, no, I got credit to Ryan Peters' side, especially after being pegged back last seconds against Slough. They would have really needed that win today, so that certainly would have cheered everyone back up in the Maidenhead camp again.
And we haven't particularly mentioned Ebbsfleet. Good Easter for them. They've won both.
Very good.
Ebbsfleet, yeah, they're in 4th place at the moment. They're looking one of the more comfortable teams to finish now in a playoff place. They scored 6 goals over the Easter weekend, and Ben Chapman and is it Kwesi Appiah scoring in both games. So well done, Ebbsfleet under Josh Wright. If you're an Ebbsfleet fan tuning into this, you probably would want to see us at least doff our cap to Ebbsfleet for a great Easter.
The thing is, they've got a very tough run in, though, to be fair. I mean, obviously taking the Hampton home game the equation, their last 2 away games are at Hornchurch and Worthing. So that's going to be a real test to see if they have got it to sneak in. And like you say, Rob, I think they may have just done enough to secure a playoff spot, possibly. I don't know, but I feel like they're going to need to at least win 2 of that last 3 to definitely be sure of a playoff spot, to be honest. But they're 2 very, very tough venues to go and play football, and that'll be a real test to see if they've got the fight for it. So I'll be keeping a close eye on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, they can have a big say. They can have a really big say in where that title goes and what happens to other teams. And one of the things we don't really focus on much is the battle, and that's perfect timing, Shah, is the battle for 3rd place, because we're talking maybe about whether Worthing or Dorking will win the league and whether Hornchurch still have a chance. But at the moment, Torquay, thanks to their goal difference, 3 better than Ebbsfleet, are in pole position to finish 3rd, which gives you a home tie in the semi-final of the playoffs. It's massive, really, isn't it?
Definitely. Just going to the table now. So National League South, a lot has changed since we were last on. I will get to the other news. Obviously, we do have 2 relegated teams now. But starting from the top, we do have a new leader, Worthing. They have 78 points, but on goal difference, they are top of the National League South. Dorking Wanderers are 2nd, also on 78 points. Torquay United are 3rd on 74 points. Ebbsfleet United are 4th on 74 points. Hornchurch are 5th on 73 points. Maidenhead are 6th on 72 points. And Hemel Hempstead, they are 7th also on 72 points. And then in the relegation zone, we have 21st, Chippenham Town on 41 points. Enfield Town are 22nd on 37. Oh, no, I've got that mixed up. Sorry. We do have, Enfield Town on 22nd on 37 points. Is that right?
Yeah.
Because my flash score is different to my graphic.
Yeah, no, Bath are just below than they are. Bath.
Bath.
Oh God, here we go.
Oh my God, I'm turning to you, Ben. 23rd, we do have Bath on 37 points, and Eastbourne Borough 24th, bottom of the National League South, on 33 points. So we do have 2 relegated teams. Do we?
We do.
We do, yeah. We are going to go now. I know. I don't know what happened to my accent then. Turned into you, Ben. We are going to go now to the National League North. Dickie, we have been waiting because it went down so well last time you were on with National League North, because as much as we love the National League North, I feel like you're the person that gives it so much credit compared to the rest of us. So talk to us. Is there any standouts? These are from Friday's games.
I think it's hard to separate the fact that you look at games on Friday and Monday and looking at who's had a good weekend and who's managed to get positive results in both of those. I mean, it's certainly, if we're talking about the top of the table, it's not been a great weekend for South Shields, just 1 point collected from 6, which has put AFC Fylde in pole position. But Shields do have a game in hand, which they play a week on Tuesday Fylde also didn't have the fantastic weekend. They lost on Friday at Chorley. 2 men sent off in that one as well, so they'll have 2 players suspended for what now looks like a really, really tricky trip to Chester on the weekend, because Chester, they've had 2 wins over the weekend. They beat my own team, FC Telford, on Friday, and then they've had another victory today. Really impressive 2-0 win away at Macclesfield, and Macclesfield really need those points. There's races within races. I think it's first and second. It can only be South Shields or Fylde, but you've got that really interesting battle between Macclesfield and Kidderminster for who gets 3rd spot and who therefore misses or doesn't have to play in the eliminators of the playoffs. Both teams will want to finish 3rd, and both teams, well, as you'll see if you have a look through the fixtures, have got games coming up, which against similar, fellow sides up in that similar round the playoffs. So it's gonna, I think it's great, but I think it's going to go down to the final day. Funnily enough, I've been having a look at where the top 2 are on the final day, and I think South Shields are away at Merthyr and Fylde are away at Kidderminster. So I suspect somebody from the National League will be sitting with the National League North Trophy at a service station somewhere on the M5, ready to make a dash to one of those 2 grounds, because the winner of the title is going to be at either Kidderminster or Merthyr that day. And so I don't know who's got that job. I don't think it'll be our friend Tom Scott, but somebody's going to have to be on standby to make
I'm pretty sure. We shouldn't give away this secret, but I'm pretty sure that Tom had 2 or 3 trophies in his van last year. He didn't know where the hell to head, did he? It was awful. It was awful.
Yeah. But so, yes, I suppose in terms of like on Friday's results, I suppose both of the top 2 failing to get wins was really an interesting one. With, we said that final defeat at Chorley, and South Shields run with Spennymoor side who'd beaten Kidderminster in midweek as well. Chester's was a really, really good weekend. It was a bit mixed for Macclesfield, as you say. They had a 4-2 win at Buxton on Friday. I keep forgetting it wasn't Saturday, but they had one on Friday, but then they've lost at home today. 2 wins out of 2 for Bedford at the weekend. That was really good for them. We've got our second confirmed relegation in the division as well. Peterborough Sports went today as a result of their 2-0 defeat. They got a draw against Kings Lynn on Friday, but ultimately that's not enough. And I think Southport had 2 wins out of 2 this weekend. So 3 teams collecting maximum points over the weekend, but not some of those teams that we would have suspected doing so.
No.
Do you not think that Bedford's back-to-back wins is incredible? I know they've played Leamington and Kings Lynn, who are, down the lower reaches of the table, but 6 points for Lee Bircham's men. It took them up to 50 for the season. And guess what? Even though they're on 50 points, they're not safe. They've got 3 games left. They're not safe yet. When we look at the table, you'll see. But what an Easter for Lee Bircham's men, who actually, Dickie, you'd know more about this, wouldn't you? But they've got a player on loan who's now had a suspension given to him for something he did 6 months ago. And they've appealed about it because it's completely bonkers, isn't it? They're now without him for 3 games.
Yeah, I've not been able to find out exactly what the situation is here, but they took Callum Ebanks on loan from Buxton, a fellow National League North club. And then they found out last week that as a result of something that happened during a game when he was playing for Buxton, he'd been sanctioned and given a 3-match ban. So all of a sudden, Bedford, without a player,
Wow.
I mean, would that have made a difference to whether they'd taken him on loan if they'd known that something was going to be hanging over him? I don't know. But they've kind of pushed that to the back of their minds, not let that, get the better of them today. I say a 3-1 win against Leamington, who are already down on Friday, and then they finished up today with a 1-0 win at Kings Lynn. Really good. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I saw Bedford came and got a point against Telford about 2 weeks ago, and yeah, they played well on the day. I mean, you're right, Rob, when you say about them not being safe yet. they've got to go, or they host Hereford on Saturday. Hereford in desperate need of the points. They've got games in hand, but that's a huge game. Bedford then go to South Shields, and I can't see South Shields allowing them to take anything away from there. And then they host Scarborough, and Scarborough needing points to confirm a playoff place as well. So probably massively important that Bedford got those maximum points this weekend against in teams who I would say that they were more winnable fixtures, and they've won them. So well done.
I do have some match reports, which I will come to, and we have some input as well from Spenny fan Chris. So first of all, we will talk about the Spennymoor game. He has put against Shields at home, windy and blustery conditions against Shields, but the Moors got a point thanks to Corey McKeown. He's also put about the Radcliffe game. Radcliffe were 3-1 up, but to draw 3-3 at the end with 94th and 95th minute goals for Curzon. I didn't realise how far down Curzon Ashton actually were until I was doing the tables before. They seem to have really slipped. Are they just above relegation?
Yeah,
they are.
I
think they're 4 points clear. They've been beaten today. They've lost 3-1 at home to Southport. They were one of the Southport's 2 victims over the weekend. Got it back to level pegging early in the second half after falling behind to Malachi McKenzie. But then there's late goals in that one from Jordan Keane and Arthur Nahua. And yeah, I mean, Adam Barton's taken over as manager. I've not had a chance to watch his post-match interview yet, but it's not looking fantastic for Curzon Ashton. I mean, they are just having a look at the standings here. Curzon Ashton are in 20th, so they're only 4 points ahead of Alfreton. Alfreton have a game in hand on them as well. So that's not terrific. And guess who they play on the final day of the season? Alfreton versus Curzon Ashton. So that's set up to be a potential winner stays up, loser goes down if Curzon Ashton can't find some better form as a result of this. And Alfreton are finding a bit of form as well at the moment. Got a draw with Worksop on Friday. They had a 2-1 victory away today. I think that was at Leamington as well. So Alfreton are fighting hard, and Curzon Ashton, from being well on the fringes, I think they just missed out on a playoff place last year. Their decline this season's been quite considerable. Did lose some quality players. They lost Isaac Buckley-Ricketts to Macclesfield, who was a huge player for them last season. But I don't think people thought that they would be where they are with just a couple of weeks of the season to go. It's touch and go for them.
Worth noting, Dickie, as well, that they lost a key manager as well, who's now sat top of the league.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Craig Mahon went from Curzon Ashton last season. He took over. I think he took over when Adam Lakeland left to go to Kings Lynn, as I recall. And that would have been a blow to them as well, because I think he was kind of being groomed for that managerial position at Curzon Ashton. Did a really, really good job there. And I'm really impressed with the job he's doing at Fylde as well. And I think what he's managed to do at Fylde is dismantle the idea of Fylde being a bit of a star vehicle in a way. I think Fylde have always had this really heavy reliance on a star player, being that
Danny Rowe,
Nick Horton. And I don't think it's necessarily unrelated that both of those players are reputed to have very close relationships with the owner of Fylde as well, which I think has perhaps not always made the manager's job that easy. I think Horton's decision to go to Fylde, and whether that was because of the culture that was changing with Craig Mahon coming in, but I like what Craig Mahon's done there, and he speaks very well. He said the other day that we're not going to attempt to do anything different at this stage of the season. Why would we? What we've done has got us this far. We just need to kind of keep on grinding out the results. As much as Shields do have that game in hand, I do think it's probably Fylde's to lose now. Yeah,
I agree. Just going back to the chat, we do have another match report as well. We have one from the Southport 2 Marine 1 game from Matt. Do you know what I love, though? The fact that new fans are coming in. I know Matt's been here for a while, but there's new fans obviously coming in from the north and the south with their match reports. I think it's fantastic. So Matt has put, Southport deservedly opened the scoring from a long-range Luke Griffiths free kick. A scramble Charlie Jolly goal drew Marine level with 15 minutes left. And then he's put, Southport then grabbed a late winner through Malachi McKenzie's acrobatic effort to take the second Classico. That made me laugh. The way Marine fans got soaked by the pre-match sprinklers at Southport. The perils of the away terrace facing the wind. Oh no! Oh, didn't sound like a good day for you then, Matt, unfortunately, but at least you've took it in all good fun. Has anybody got anything else you want to add on Friday's fixtures before we move on to Mondays? Nope.
I'm just having a look through here. I think Scarborough's win at Darlington was a really big result for them, given that they both were on the edge of the playoff picture. And I know what it did is it moved them a little bit closer towards being slightly more secure in that position. But then Darlington have followed up and got a really, really good win today at South Shields. So that proved not to be critical. I think Hereford's lost to Kidderminster was their 7th in a row. They really, really needed something today, and they got it against Merthyr Town. Merthyr, by contrast, their 1-1 draw with Oxford City at home at Pennydarren Park, not a terrific result. They followed it up today with a defeat, as you'll hear. And I think having been almost permanently third in the table for about 2/3 of the season, Merthyr are in severe danger of dropping out of the playoffs right at the death, which would be a huge disappointment for them, having got to where they got to. But, people will look at that and go, they lost their top scorer in January. That's been a factor, but I think it's the goals they concede at the other end that's just as much of a problem for them.
Definitely. I wonder if we've done the podcast jinx as well, Ben, because we spoke about them quite highly, didn't we, as well? And we were saying at the top, will they be able to compete with South Shields and AFC Fylde? And since then, they've done a drop-off. And I always say, if you mention it on this podcast, it's like getting player and manager of the month. It just then puts a jinx on it. So yeah, a podcast classic. Sorry, Rob.
No, I was just going to say I can only think that we must have predicted Telford to finish in the playoffs about 3 weeks ago. Hey, Dickie.
Yes. Sorry.
I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, yes, it was looking reasonable 3 weeks ago, but yeah, unfortunately, Telford's form has dropped off at just the wrong time. I think it is a young squad at Telford, and I think they've perhaps not. I think the additional pressure. I said the other day, I wonder if they've almost started to focus on the finish line rather than taking it game by game. And yeah, it wasn't a great. They've played okay. They've played more than okay in both games over the weekend, but have come up with 0 points from it, unfortunately. And I think now 6 points off the playoffs with just 9 to play for, and other teams having games in hand and things like that. I think we're going to have to gracefully accept that the playoffs was just a little bit of it was a bit too far for Telford this season, just a bit too big of a mountain to climb, but still pretty pleased with how we've done a fair season in step 2.
Definitely.
100% coming up to this level. And can I ask, Dickie, I know at least one of them you did, but have you been commentating on both games at the weekend? Because I can tell, talking to you a lot, that your voice is partially going, isn't it?
I did do both games at the weekend, yes. I summarised with my colleague Scott from BBC Radio Shropshire on Friday, although we were held up by traffic, and I literally arrived at the ground as kickoff was being taken, so I didn't really get to do my best prep that day. And yeah, I did the game against Kidderminster with him today. I've got 2 more before the end of the season as well, doing Darlington and Southport. So if you think I'm croaky now, it could be considerably worse in a fortnight's time.
We're experts here on this channel, aren't we, Shah?
Oh, yeah. Mine was due to when Dale went through a really good patch. As you can tell, because we're going through a little bit of a bad patch at the minute, I fully got my voice. Just quickly go into the chat as well. Chris put, Darlow, what a mix of Easter they've had. Late goal conceded versus Scarborough, but then Shields away. I don't know what they are doing. And then
you could sing that, couldn't you?
Yeah, and then he's obviously put for match report, Scarborough away, rubbish game, only one goal versus a scrappy Borough. 4 or 5 weeks ago, we're nowhere near those playoff spots, but how crazy an unbeaten run can work out. But we start again. Obviously, Spenny fan Chris, that was who put that.
Yeah, I listened to their game against Kidderminster last week and on Tuesday evening, and it sounded like a thoroughly deserved victory. But yeah, unfortunately, a point against South Shields was really, really creditable.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've not quite been able to follow up on that today. And listen, that's that thing, consistency, isn't it? It's the consistency that gets you to the top of the table or securely in the playoffs. If you can't quite knit it together regularly, you're in that scrap for 7th place generally.
Definitely. Just go into the chat again. Matt has put, as a Marine fan, a begrudging word of praise for Neil Dans and Southport. They were being out adrift at the bottom a few months back, but now sit comfortably mid-table. Fair play. That's from Matt. Has anybody got anything they want to add on National League North games today?
Just the fact there's no draws, isn't it?
I know. It's crazy. It was draw central before.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really spoken, the detail of the Foyled Radcliffe game as much as we speak about Foyled getting the job done, and they did. I have to say, they didn't have it all their own way against Radcliffe, who we know that they've tailed off badly in recent weeks, and that's not necessarily a coincidence about the departing of the ways through their management duo as well. But yeah, Foyled were 3-0 up and comfortable by 35 minutes in this one. 2 goals from Luca Thomas and Tom Whelan getting one. But yeah, Radcliffe came back with 3 goals in 17 minutes to level it with 20 minutes to go. And then 5 minutes after that, Ethan Mitchell popped up with what eventually proved to be the winner. So yes, as much as Foyled did get the job done, we have to give credit to Radcliffe for giving them what looked like it was, a distinctly more jittery afternoon than it was looking like it was going to be at half time.
Just have a couple of things. This made me laugh from Chris Dickey for you. I've been told not to go on holiday during the season now. I went away and we were losing so many games. Ha ha. Chris's spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's that curse, isn't it? You think, oh, it won't matter if I miss one, and it turns out to be an absolute belter. Probably, the likes of Telford fans who thought, oh, Curzon Ashton 2 weeks after Christmas, money's a bit short, I won't bother, and Telford won 8-0. So we've had some bigger away following since then. But yes, I think if you missed that one, you would have been kicking yourself. But it takes a lot to follow your team absolutely everywhere, doesn't it? So we understand that people can't always do that. I suppose just having a reminder of a look at today's. You've mentioned the fact that Telford fell short today against Kidderminster. Did have a man sent off as well, Jamie Meadows, for a denial of a goal scoring opportunity, which that's been subject to some debate in our bar afterwards, I have to say. I don't think the referees, I got the impression that a few of our fans let the referee know that they weren't best pleased with the decision. Telford did have a man sent off on Friday as well, so they've potentially got to cope without a couple of players over the last 3 games. But for the most part, I think it's, Telford they're playing for pride and just to get as many points on the board as they can now. But I think it's probably out of reach for us.
And Dickie, a big 4 points for Oxford City this weekend?
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned them, actually, because once again, I think it's fixtures down the line involving Oxford City that could be really interesting. They had a 1-1 draw at Merthyr on Friday, which was a good result. Then it was their result today that sent Peterborough Sports down. The only team that Peterborough Sports could have caught, or the team they needed to catch, was Oxford City, and they faced one another today. And Oxford City's 2-0 win with goals from Matty Taylor and Ewan Clark means that Peterborough Sports now can't catch them. Just to look down the rest of the season, I think they might have a say in other matters now, Oxford City, because they host or they go to Alfreton, and Alfreton need the points to stay out of trouble. They host Hereford, and Hereford is similarly in the bottom four, so that's going to be interesting. They host Chester, and Chester are going for the playoffs, and then they go to Darlington. So Oxford City, again, it's probably a good thing that they've collected. I don't think they're mathematically safe, but they've collected enough points against, dare I say it, the weaker opponents, because they're going into games now for over this final four where every opponent they're up against needs the points desperately for one reason or another, and you can't count on getting anything from games like that. So I think Oxford City will probably be okay. I think they've had some goals from DJ Campton Sturridge. It's really helped. I think adding a player of the quality of Ashley Hemming said something about their commitment and their desire to stay out of the relegation zone. You know, that they went out and got a player like that in on loan. So I'm fully expecting Oxford. When I say I'm fully expecting Oxford to be in the National League North next season, I would say I expect them to be at step 2 next season. So yeah, don't know what'll happen there. Oh, I just see Chris chipping in there. Hereford have to play Marine twice as well. So yeah, Hereford actually, having played today, play again on Wednesday. So their fixture catch-up continues, but they will be hugely relieved to have got a 3-0 win against Merthyr today. They had it done by half-time as well. Goals from Lewis Hudson, Mikey Lane, and then Matt Preston. So, really, really desperately needed points for Hereford today. But with those games in hand, they've still got a chance.
We do have a question as well from Matt. He has put, big win for Chester today. Can they still make the playoffs, do we reckon?
Just flick
I think they can. Yeah, I think they can. I mean, they're 1 point behind Merthyr. And they've played a game more than Merthyr. But Merthyr's form is not good. And I say, when you have a look at Merthyr's running, Merthyr have 4 games left against Macclesfield, Marine, Scarborough and Fylde. I don't think there's any particularly easy fixtures in there for a side that's as short on form as Merthyr are. So Chester are coming up strong. I think Chester, just 3 games left. Again, Fylde is one of them, Oxford City, but they finish with a home game against Kings Lynn. So if you're asking me if you're putting me on the spot, I think Chester can make it, yes.
Yeah.
Do you think if they make it, Dickie, they'll re-announce Callum McIntyre as the manager again?
Well, I mean, it's a fascinating. I mean, that was one of the things we speculated about or discussed when they announced that Callum McIntyre was going to go at the end of the season, but was going to see it through to the end of the season. Obviously, we know that's changed. People started to say, but what if Chester now put a run together and get into the playoffs? Does that change their view of what they're going to do as regards the managerial situation? As we know, it didn't come to that. Connell Rawlinson's done a great job. I think I saw today that Chester have collected 16 points from 21 since he's taken over. So I think he's making a very strong bid. Perhaps, I don't know whether he's got the management in mind, but I think if he continues at this rate of picking up points that he's got with Chester and manages to get them into the playoffs, I think they'll find it very hard not to give him the job.
Just going back to the chat, we do have, just bear with me, sorry. Where is it? We do have Emily, who's just come in, and she has put, disappointed for South Shields to not win. My nan was from South Shields, so I have a soft spot for them. And if I'm right in saying, I think Emily comes in the chat and on our women's football podcast because Graham and Chris are very familiar with her, and she's also said as well, and she is right. Am I right in thinking South Shields look good for promotion? They are currently second in the table, Emily, so yes, you are correct. We will come to the table now. So this is the table for National League North. So, top of the table, we do have AFC Fylde on 94 points. South Shields are second on 88 points. Kidderminster are third on 75 points. Macclesfield are fourth on 73 points. Scarborough are 5th on 69 points. Darlington are 6th on 68 points. And Merthyr Town have that last playoff spot at the moment. They are 7th on 67 points. And at the bottom of the table, we have Alfreton Town. They are 21st on 44 points. Hereford are 22nd on 41 points, but they do have them key games in hand. Peterborough Sports, it was announced today, they have been relegated from the National League North, 23rd on 38 points. And Leamington, we already knew, didn't we? They are bottom of the table, already relegated on 26 points. Just going back to the chat, I'm familiar with everyone, chat. I'm the bad penny of the chat that keeps saying, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Yes, post office. That means they have qualified for a playoff spot if nobody is familiar with that. And just going back, Tony has put, as much as we got the result today at Shields, they're still an unbelievable side at this level. Right, Rob, I think that's the end of the podcast now, isn't it? Because we don't want to talk National League.
We're done here. Yeah, we're done here.
We're done. So I am sorry, Luke. I know you said you were really excited to talk National League, but we're done today. I'm kidding. So we will start off with Friday's games. And you know what? I'm going to start first. I'm not going to talk about Rochdale. I am going to give full credit to Jim Bentley's Markham because, if I'm being quite honest, they were absolutely outstanding. I knew it was always going to be tough. Like, I've said it all before, from a manager who's obviously been part of Rochdale before, coming back to the old club, and Markham in particular, they're fighting at the moment. And they played absolutely brilliant. Our defence, we've gone on about them time and time again this season, how solid they have been. This game for our defence was absolutely shocking, but I want to give credit to Markham where credit's due because they found out where it hit our defence like the most. Like, our defence were really, really vulnerable. They scored some fantastic goals. They put Ollie Watmuth under pressure. I don't know if anybody's seen some of the mistakes from Ebanks Landell, Callum Perry as well. Honestly, Markham were outstanding on that day. And I just want to say Jim Bentley and Decide, they fought that game. Obviously, fantastic goal from Adi Barlow. And then Ian Henderson came on, did score another wonder goal. That's what Ian Henderson does. But instead of me coming on here and saying the bad points about Rochdale, how bad we were, which we didn't perform very well, I just want to say Markham, honestly, were fantastic. So they really, really were. That's all I've got to say on that. I wanted to get that one out of the way.
Well done, Shah. Well done. I've never, ever known you come bursting into the league and talk about a game so quickly. You didn't go to anybody else. You just got it off your chest. So it's done now.
But honestly, they were really, really good, Markham. And it's just such a shame they're in the position that they're in because that day they defended so well. Liam Hogan, it's such a shame to say this because obviously we had Liam Hogan. He left Rochdale. There were no bad blood or anything. He just wanted to play regular football. He wasn't getting it at Dale. He was absolutely fantastic. And you know, when you're half hoping that you're like, come on, Liam, you once played for Dale. Come on. But it just didn't happen. He was solid. And yeah, they were honestly fantastic. Very good. But yes, Rob, I will come to you. Do you want to talk Aldershot or do you want to talk one of the other games?
No, I'll talk one of the others. There's not a huge amount to talk about really with Aldershot. I'll come to it in a minute. But I want to talk about Bournemouth 5, Wealdstone 1, not just because of this game, but if you ever wanted to have an example of how bonkers the National League is, let me give you these three results. Back to the Tuesday, Wealdstone 7, Hartlepool 0. That is a hybrid or definitely not fully full-time, a sort of part-time hybrid side at home that everybody said would be one mind on the FA Trophy final. against Hartlepool, who had they won last Tuesday and had Southend not won, they could have gone into a playoff position. Probably for me, the result of the season and I know we're not looking at Tuesday's game, but I have to go back to it.
Definitely.
What's the result for Wealdstone? 7-0 against Hartlepool, a very painful one, I'm sure, for Hartlepool. And then the brutal reality for Wealdstone, they go away to Boreham Wood. And Gary Waddock summed it up perfectly. He said, Boreham Wood are the best National League side I've seen so far. And he's spot on, and I agree. They're the best side I've seen. I'm sorry, Rochdale. I'm sorry, York. On their day, and they don't, they're perhaps not big enough squad, big enough clout to maybe be able to win the title, of course. But on their day, I think Boreham Wood at their best are as good as Rochdale and as good as York. And they obviously put Wealdstone, a good side, in a good moment, away very thoroughly on Friday. And then the irony, and I know, as Dickie said previously, it's difficult not to link the games over the weekend. The irony that Boreham Wood today have gone to Solihull Moors, not in great form, and got spanked themselves by 4-1.
His comment as well.
Yeah, just unbelievable. And one of the reasons I think we do this podcast and we love the top end of non-league football, because we get some of the most bonkers results.
That is true. Honestly, that is true. I know I'll get onto it obviously in the next games, but looking at what happened with Wealdstone Hartlepool, some Rochdale fans were rubbing their hands thinking, oh, I wonder how many managers a Rui can score. But just didn't happen, but I will come on to that a little bit later. Ben, I am going to come to you. Any on here you want to talk about, I'll give a mention to.
I would have mentioned, Boreham Wood. I mean, more to say congratulations, because obviously they've confirmed now playoff spot, in their first season back at this level, which again is an incredible achievement for Luke Garrard and his side, considering, I said at the start of the season, I think they could go again. I really did. I think they've just got such a strong squad and they've carried that momentum on. But you've got to give them their dues. They've done their bit, and they'll be a force in the playoffs as well. They won't be there to make up numbers. They will be one of the strong forces, I reckon. But I think if I'm looking away from them, I'll probably say Yeovil actually against Truro, which unfortunately confirms Truro's relegation from the National League, and it is sad that they knew they were punching above their weight this year, and that's why they wouldn't have sacked John Askey, because they know that he was always going to be up against it. And obviously for Yeovil, they've sort of hit a little bit of good form recently. Obviously, they've confirmed their state even with the defeat today. But from a Truro perspective, they would have learned a lot. I mean, I'm sure their fans will still say they've made a number of memories. They never expected to be here. They've given themselves, like I say, some great days out, and obviously, look, they can just go and probably enjoy the last 2 or 3 games in the league. And there's no reason why they can't be back in the future, really. But yeah, for Yeovil, I think they scored. I think it was 96th, 97th minute. I think to nick the win as well, as probably in the cruelest of fashions for Truro to be confirmed as relegated. But for Billy Rowley's side, they've needed that, because obviously it's been a bit of an up and down season. But for Yeovil, and obviously it's only been sort of the last few weeks they've been able to really sort of establish their name in the league and get their place secure. But now they've done it, they can start a rebuild job now, looking ahead of how they can push next season, because they need to be going in towards the playoffs. They're one of those clubs in that league that should be pushing towards that. And obviously it hasn't worked this year, but onwards and upwards for them.
Can I just talk about this? No more players, surely. The amount of quality you have at York. Boreham Wood obviously has his opinion, awful Bantwell Village team, but play decent football. Already told Matt Uglow we need Abdul Malik and Bush. No.
Green now they are.
No. Do you know what? I am so surprised though that Abdul Malik is still there, just because I thought an EFL club would have come in for him. Obviously, the season he's had, an absolutely fantastic player. Really is a fantastic player.
And just a quick footnote on Boreham Wood, we somehow missed, we didn't mention it, but they've not got one of the biggest squads. They've always gone relatively lean, but whenever they sign a player, it's a quality player. And who did they take the other week? James Clark from Solihull. Yeah. And in that 5-1 win, he's playing at right back or right wing back, and he's got a hat trick. I mean, you must have been watching Gus Scott Morris play, surely.
Honestly, they are very, very good, Boreham Wood. Really, really like them. And you all know how much I love Luke Garrard as well. Fantastic manager. Dickie, is there any on here that you want to give a mention to from the National League?
I suppose just looking down there, I mean, I tend to have my favourites on our own podcast, just the ones that the teams that previously been in National North, generally speaking. And yeah, I mean, it's not looking good for Brackley Town, is it? They're 4-0 against Forest Green, and I know they've had a marginally better result today. But yeah, interesting. It prompted an open letter to supporters from manager Andy Wing yesterday. I think he's come in for a bit of stick because I think some of it relates to the fact that he used to be the manager at Banbury United. And if you know that part of the world, there really isn't that far between Banbury and Brackley. One's Northamptonshire, one's Oxfordshire. There is a bit of a rivalry there. Yeah, I think he just felt that the time was right to say something and just, try and reassure people and let people know that, he's working as hard as he can at Brackley to try and turn things around. And he was sure that the players were doing likewise as well. But yeah, it's just, I think Brackley's first half of the season went really well. And of course, they had that eye-catching FA Cup result that was televised, didn't they? And yeah, that ultimately, it's probably the departure of manager Gavin Cowan that's probably been that started to signal the decline there. I think they'd had some poor results before that, but he's knowing him, and I do know him from his time at Telford. He's a hugely positive character. Does make it feel like a good place to go and work at your football club, and to be around your football club. And I think they've just had trouble recapturing that same kind of spirit since.
And he said he's never known anything like this in football. I mean, I don't know exactly how many games he's been in charge now, but it's double figures now, isn't it?
Yeah.
10, 11, 12 games in charge, and Wing can't get a win right now. That's crazy. And I know Christian was really worried going there today. We haven't got onto today's games, but they still didn't get that win today. And I'm getting really worried now because Aldershot go there in a couple of weeks. And we have a tremendous record for ending teams' barren runs without a win over the years.
Yeah, and to be honest, Rob, I think even if they do manage to do that against you,
it might be too late.
I think it might be too late by then. Only 2 wins since Christmas for Brackley, which, that kind of tells its own story. And I have to say the majority of those other games, it is punctuated with a few draws, but they've become less and less. And they had a really horrendous spell where they lost 7 games in a row. I don't know, if you're going to lose 7 games in a row in this division, you are going to find it tough.
Definitely agree. I feel like I need to touch on, obviously, as much as I don't want to, the York game, because he did win 1-0 against Boston, who I believe they've not won at Boston for a very long time, have the York, from what I've heard and what I've seen on, obviously,
Boston have won and drawn, Yeah, they've got a really good record. They're a bit of a bogey side, aren't they?
Definitely. And obviously the goal scorer, someone you know very well, Ben, isn't it? Ben Brooks. But yeah, I just think it's a fantastic win, obviously, for York. And I just feel like the 1-0 wins at this stage are very, very vital as well. I know Boston did make it a little bit difficult for them. I know they have done in previous games, and we know Boston are a very, very good team, aren't they, as well, since obviously changing manager. But yeah, I just think York, that did take them obviously tough as well, which is frustrating. But yeah, I just think a very, very good win against a team that do make it very, very difficult for them. We have some York fans in the chat as well, which I will get to. So we had Alison, she's put, so happy for York. I'm glad you are. You've got Graham as well. Hope the York fans keep this energy when Dale beat them on the last day to win the league by a point. We will see. Sean has put, how many York fans are in here? They're coming in numbers, to be fair, York fans. A lot have been here all season. There's just an extra few of them tonight. this made me laugh as well because obviously Graham is a Charlton fan, so he's not from Lancashire. So we did get a little bit mixed up. Graham, that isn't happening. You Lancs have to run out. We have run out of steam at the moment. I have to say, though, I almost had a heart attack at 2 p.m. when I saw Stones was out. We will get onto that. I believe it was because he got an injury and it was just concussion. That's why, obviously, he was rested today. I think I'm right on that. And I will touch on this as well from today's game. I know we're not doing it yet, but I hope everybody is safe. I did see it because I had the Dale game on, and then on my TV, I had the York game on as well. So I watched both of them, and you could see a lot of smoke from where it was coming from. So, yeah, I hope everybody is okay and everybody is safe from the fire. That did happen at York. We do have as well, we need you to send your match report. I'm hoping you have. I'm giddy for National League, Luke, because what a run Gateshead are on at the moment. Since Rob Elliott has obviously come back to Gateshead, they have been fantastic, haven't they? They've picked up some really good form, and I believe they're actually second in the form table from what I've seen, just behind York, and they're actually above us as well in the form table. So fantastic from Gateshead. Fantastic for them. We do have as well, obviously, Jermaine Defoe came in, didn't it? His first game, Woking free, Eastleigh free, Defoe's first game in charge, and wow, what a result. Very good from them. Graham's obviously put Desmond Claxon, so that's Aldershot Town, Sutton United. Rob, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah.
The shots roared off to a really good start, 2-0 up in 16 minutes. But they lost their way. Sutton stayed in the game and come back and got themselves a point. Both referee Robert Massey-Ellis was throwing around yellow cards like confetti. And you know when that happens, sooner or later, someone's going to get a second one. That happened to poor Ollie Scott, who's kind of been my Aldershot Town player of the season, actually. I love him. He's been brilliant. So he missed out today. But fair play to Sutton. They kind of nicked a draw. I had a lovely chat with Chris Agata afterwards, which was meant to be for our pod this weekend. We're not doing one now, so we'll try and fit the best of that chat in next weekend. Sutton got a point, and it's a bit bizarre. There's a pattern because Aldershot were far the better side against Sutton home and away, and yet ended up with 2 draws, a 0-0 and a 2-2. So it's a question of what might have been for Aldershot, but full credit to Sutton for hanging in the game. A crowd of over 3,000 there. That was great on Good Friday. Other than that, not too much to say.
Just wanted to mention as well Southend, because I feel like we've not really mentioned Southend, and they're really picking up some form, aren't they, at the right time for that playoff spot? Because I know they obviously did have some games in hand, still do, with obviously the FA Trophy, don't they? They've obviously got to the final of that against Wealdstone, but I feel like they are really picking up form at the right time, similar to obviously what we've seen before. I know there's been a little bit of controversy from Southend fans. Some want Kevin Mayer to stay. Some are obviously disappointed with Kevin Mayer at the moment. So I just wanted to know your thoughts, guys, on Kevin Mayer, because I really like Kevin Mayer, mate. I think he's a great, fantastic manager. I feel like they need to stick with him, but do you understand why they're getting frustrated with Kevin Mayer, Southend fans?
No, they're going to Wembley. They're going to Wembley once, at least twice, possibly 3 times in just over 12 months. Give your head a wobble.
Thank you, Rob. I'm glad you agree with me, because honestly, the amount of times, I don't want to say arguments, the amount of times I've had discussions with Southend fans, and I just think, like, you missed out on promotion last season. You got to the playoff final. You're already at Wembley. And we know what Southend can do in the playoffs. They still have the potential, if they get that playoff spot, to go up, despite them, even if they do finish in that last playoff spot, because the experience they have and the form they're picking up now, I think if they get playoffs, they could do it. They really could. We've seen what they can do.
I agree. Go on, Ben. You have a say. Sorry.
So I would snap your hand off, like being in Southend's position. You know, you've got a trip to Wembley, at least one trip to Wembley to look forward to, and vice versa, with the possibility of 2. I think clearly the expectation has obviously been put on the players. You know, having been so close last year to promotion, that's probably why it's come into place. But look, the table doesn't lie. You know, they're 5 points inside there. They've still got a couple of games in hand. It really is their spot to lose now, to be on a 7th spot. You know, I mean, they might be able to push for 6, but 7's probably the most realistic they can get. But look, once you're in there, it is all game, fair game. And I think, to be honest, I've always said that look, the teams that sit 4th to 7th have probably got a slight advantage because they played.
Yeah.
Obviously we found, linking back to us, we obviously had that last year. We had that momentum going into a semi-final, whereas obviously if you're coming in cold, from the last league game to the semi-final, it could always go wrong. That's the thing; it doesn't always go, the way you want it. So, and then again, I think Southend in 7th, you're probably looking and think, well, they're not going to do much because they'll be away for 2 of the playoff games, obviously with third one being at Wembley. But I think, like I say, what Kevin May has done, over the years, been an unbelievable job. He took the club on. He was still getting results for them when sometimes they weren't even able to name two subs on the bench. I think, like I said, supporters do need to have a bit of a reality check because they are 71 points with still 5 games to play. They're in a good place at the moment. So, like I said, they're now hitting form. So, yeah, I don't buy the whole Kevin Mayer out thing because if he ends up winning at Wembley the trophy and possibly, guys into a promotion, he'll be given the freedom of the town, I'm sure, by everyone 100%. Else. So,
the biggest concern for Southend fans should be the fact that they're obviously going to make the playoffs. We don't know quite where they're going to finish yet. They've got those couple of games in hand.
Yeah.
Their biggest concern is they don't have one of the biggest squads in the National League. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't think they'd compete for the title. Another one is I've tended to feel they draw too much. It hasn't been excessively the case this season. They've drawn 11. But Kev Mayer, all bar one game, he's won 20 out of 41 games. He's just underneath a 50% win ratio. So the biggest concern for Southend fans really should be negotiating those final 5 games now in the next couple of weeks, where they've got to play Saturday and midweek every time without too many injuries, because they can potentially go into the playoffs in form. They can also potentially go in with players having maybe been overloaded, if they're not able to make enough changes. So I think they need to put their focus in praying they don't get too many injuries over the next couple of weeks.
I completely agree. I'm so glad you agreed, Ro, because I was thinking to myself, and like I said, I never have arguments. It's just discussions. And I'm like, be careful what you wish for. Seriously. Careful what you wish for. We do have a match report about this. Is like Luke's dream, 0-0 for him, his own team,
his own side, exactly.
Yeah. So Carlisle away, over 700 fans in the away end to witness a defensive masterclass of a performance. A couple of chances for Carlisle to take the lead, but thank God their finishing was poor. No, honestly, Gateshead have been fantastic, haven't they, since Rob Elliott has come back in. He's really stabilised them, and just what a fantastic manager he is, Rob Elliott. And do you reckon they're safe now? Do you reckon they're pretty much safe?
Yeah, very much so. Funnily enough, next Saturday, Gateshead go to Aldershot, and if somebody wins that game, they'll be 100% safe either way. They could, of course, draw it, and they might well both be safe by the end of the games next week anyway. But Gateshead. I think Luke mentioned earlier, or a Gateshead fan. I don't know if it was Luke saying the fact that a draw will probably do it for them next week, but they hope they get 3 points.
Anything else anybody wants to add on Friday's fixtures?
Just on that Southend Braintree did hang in the game, didn't they? They came back, they got a couple of goals. It would have been getting a little bit nervous for Southend, but the first of 2 games for Braintree this weekend, and as we'll come on to, of course, they drew the second one, but sadly, their relegation's been confirmed now.
Feel like as well, I don't think we ever really mentioned them that much, but fantastic. I know it was against Brackley, but 4-0 obviously to Forest Green as well. I know we obviously have Green Acres in the chat, but yeah, Damani Mellor scoring a goal as well, actually set up by Nick Horton too. So it's good to obviously see Damani Mellor on the score sheet, because we know he's had a great season at Macclesfield. Is now signed for Forest Green. I think a few Macclesfield players have signed for Forest Green now, haven't they? But yeah, it was fantastic seeing him score. And someone I wanted to mention as well, I still love him from when he played for us last season, Jilliby Abu, and that story just makes me laugh every single time. I hear it about the fact he delivered his own baby, Jilliby Abu, didn't he? And the first person he phoned was Robbie Savage to tell him he wouldn't be in training that day. I love that. That is typical Jilliby Abu all over. He's such a character. So I just wanted to shout him out because he's such a great guy, honestly. But that was just a crazy story.
That was one of the best stories of the year, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant. That. Just, I know, Dickie, we haven't come to you much, and I hope you don't mind me saying, Charlotte.
No, that's fine.
This is definitely one for Dickie. Tamworth 1, Solihull Moors 0.
Yes.
So there's your couple of Midland clubs teed up. But this game was featured as the Dan Creaney derby, wasn't it, Dickie? And what happened?
Well, yeah, Dan Creaney scored the winning goal in the 56th minute. Played for both teams this season. Left Tamworth in the summer, went to Solihull. Which I have to say, I was puzzled about a bit at the time. Didn't really work out for him at Moors, and he's gone back to Tamworth. He's part of the furniture there, really, and I think they're probably a bit more set up to play for his strengths as well. So, yeah, you could almost have written that script yourself, couldn't you? That if anybody was going to score the winner in a 1-0 win, it would have been him. Solihull's form's a bit disappointing of late, isn't it? You know, and they're stable. They're not going up, but they're not going down. But I think they probably have hoped for a bit better. But yeah, I mean, Tamworth again. We spoke so many times on our own podcast last season about the fact that it was only with a couple of weeks of the season to go that Tamworth fell out of playoff contention, and that ceased to be, you know, a possibility for them. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. We know that they're 13 points behind, but 10th position, a second season in a row for one of the few teams. Yeah, for one of the few teams in the division that is still semi-professional. And they've had a big turnover as well. They've had quite a big change in players this season. And Andy Peaks has had to go out and recruit last summer and has done really, really well in that department. And yeah, I think Tamworth are doing fantastically well, punching above their weight. I suppose the danger will come with them. As you just mentioned there about Southend fans, when if any Tamworth fans start to get, you know, itchy feet and sort of like doing that, well, we don't want to be just finishing 10th every season. We want to push on a bit. You know, I think they perhaps need to recognise that what they're achieving at this level for the size of club they are and on the semi-professional basis that they are is outstanding, really. And I know they're not to everybody's style, but they play to their strengths and it works.
I'm a Tamworth fan on Saturday.
Well, you wouldn't back them. Oh, you wouldn't back against them upsetting the apple cart in some way. You know, they are that kind of side. I think they like being cast in that kind of underdog role as well. There are some teams that just really like being in that position of, we like going out there and proving people wrong. And I think that there are several players in that Tamworth squad who you would say there'd be people going, how on earth is he playing at this level? But they like that challenge of going out there and proving people wrong week after week.
I really hope, honestly, I'm praying, I'm hoping and praying. Something's just caught me off guard as well. I've just had a notification through on Twitter, and a Hartlepool fan has put, "You were so poor today, expected so much better from you. You will do well to get through the playoffs." It's like, it's not me.
It's we when they win and them when they lose or don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, and come on, Sha, Doug, you'll be cheering on Wealdstone come next week. Don't be trying to pull this one.
It's worth. I know we've still got to get to Monday's games, but you're talking about it, so let's mention it now. So Tamworth play at home to York, 12:30. There's another game at 12:30 as well, Bournemouth, Hartlepool, and then you've got all your 3 o'clock kickoffs. And then Rochdale against Wealdstone at 5:30. Going to be a nervous few hours, Shah, isn't it? And you're going to be an awful lot happier going into that game if York drop a point or 3.
Well, I'll be happier, but every time York drop points, we don't seem to capitalise on that. You can see it. Tamworth, Tamworth will like get a 1-0 win or something, and Wealdstone will absolutely batter us. You know it's going to happen. No, we'll see. I'll quickly touch on our game. There's not a lot really to say, if I'm being quite honest. The only thing I do want to really touch on is the fact that I know fans pay their hard-earned money to go and watch their football team, follow them across the country, but when you have 99 points and you're booing your own team off, I think that is utterly disgusting. I know we've not played well the last few games. Our players look very, very tired. Some of the games we've played, we've looked weary. I mentioned to you, Rob, and you, Ben, didn't I, off air, that Sutton game, even though we won that game and no celebrations, I feel that really did paper over some cracks of the fact that we've not really played well in a good few weeks now. But to boo your team off, when they didn't even lose, they got a 0-0 draw against Hartlepool. Yes, we don't want to be dropping points, but in hindsight, I know obviously you take into consideration Wealdstone put 7 past them, but Hartlepool are a good side, I think, personally. I think they are a good side, and away from home. Exactly.
They're in ninth place for a reason, and the reason they can't get higher is they've only scored 47 goals, and there's only 3 teams in the league who've scored less than that, but they do have a good defence, as they've proved in other than
100%.
that Wealdstone game. Yeah,
100%. And I just think for some of our fans, and like I said, you do get your ticket, you do pay for your travel and stuff, but I think it's a little bit disrespectful when you're in second place with nearly 100 points to boo the players off. Is that could just be me? But do you guys agree with that? Like, we're second, 99 points, we're booing off our players.
Game's gone.
No.
Exactly.
It's not like you lost the game either. That's the thing. It's like, I mean, let's be honest. Out of the last 3 or 4 games you had on paper, Hartlepool was probably, well, obviously, barring York, I guess, Hartlepool was probably the hardest one going into it. So, I think it's a good point on the road, because the way I look at it, we were just saying off air, if Rochdale win the last 3, they win the league. That's the way they've got to look at it. And that's what Jim McNulty will be thinking as well, because, at the end of the day, look, they are 2 points clear again, York, but it's still in Rochdale's hands. That's the thing they want it to be. So, that's the thing. 99 points, and you've lost, 6 games out of 43 games. You think, come on, have a bit of reality check. Look,
exactly.
Both sides, let's be honest, on any other league should be getting promoted, with the amount of points they've got. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but look, get behind them the last 2 or 3 games, because the players need it now. Like I say, they are starting to be a bit tired. The fans will get them over the line, and they're going to need it now for the remaining 3 games. But yeah, I think that's disgusting. I'd love to be in your position right now, Charles. That's the thing.
Yeah. There's just one slightly mitigating circumstances here. Football's a very emotional game.
Yeah.
And at the same time that the Rochdale fans are realising you're not going to score and you're not going to win the game, they're hearing in their ears and on their phones that York have got that.
No, that's true. That's true.
So the players are coming over to get their, to give their appreciation at the same time that those Rochdale fans are double.
Yeah, of course.
They're double crushed. And so 5-10 minutes later, an awful lot of those people booing probably would think that that's a bit, it's not right. They should,
Yeah.
But no, you're not losing it, Shah. That's as absurd as Southend fans moaning about still having Kev Mayer in charge.
Yeah. I feel like there's still a couple of things that Jim McNulty does need to change now. I know I was mentioning it off air to you guys as well, where I think we need to change it up a little bit. A lot of teams now are finding how to kind of trouble us. If they can mark managers a way out of the game, then we are struggling at the moment. The only good thing is at the moment, we do have players returning back from injury. It was fantastic to see Harvey Gilmore back in that midfield with Ryan East today. Conor McBride, obviously, I said to you guys as well, we need to give that guy more minutes because he seems to change the games. Honestly, he's got this physicality about him as well. So even if we do want to rest Devante Rodney, play Conor McBride. I think Luke's in the chat as well, and he obviously knows Conor McBride well from his Gateshead days. And something really positive as well is Toby Adebayo-Rowling came on and got minutes. He's had a bad injury, so it's nice to see him back, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Pritchard is on his way back too. So yeah, they're the positives by it. But yeah, I do think we do need to change a little bit of how we're playing at the moment, because more teams are kind of sussing out what we are doing, and that's where obviously Markham hurt us on Friday. So yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we can perform better. We obviously need to win all 3 games now, but just moving on to York and that fantastic win obviously today. I did watch this game. Like I said, I had both of them on my screen because I couldn't get to the Hartlepool game. The Altrincham goal was a mistake at the back, and then the Altrincham player did capitalise. I think it was Jimmy Knowles capitalised on that, scored. Straight after, York go down the other end, get the goal. Fantastic goal by Ollie Banks as well. Honestly, great finish. And then, as much as it really, really hurt me seeing it, they just did what York have been doing all season. And I think this is where the difference of quality is between us and York. York are always pushing to get that winner. Dale don't. We're still playing on the floor. We're still passing and playing that kind of football, whereas York are just pushing and pushing all the time, looking for that winner. And obviously they did find that winner as well. Really good for the York fans. Disappointing from a Dale perspective, but we go again. We'll see what happens. And this is obviously one of the most exciting title races that has happened in a very long time, obviously in the National League. And may the best person win at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a York point of view, you mentioned how Boston are a bit of a bogey side for them. Altrincham have been as well. And our own Tom Jolly put in our WhatsApp group earlier, he said, I didn't manage to get any audio after the game. I had to catch my train back. But what a moment to cover, though. It could be the goal that wins York the league. That's only Alty's 5th loss to York since 2008. 27 matches between them. And York have only won that fixture now 5 times. So the York fans, well, triple relieved now, aren't they?
Definitely. And you think of obviously in title races, we mentioned the Boston game, we mentioned this game for bogey teams, and they're actually managing to pull off those wins. So they're a fantastic side, York. And as we've said previously, I feel like with Jim McNulty and Stuart Maynard, they've just completely gone around the business, quiet. There's not been as much press on them as there has like Robbie Savage, Mark Hughes and stuff. And with Stuart Maynard and obviously Jim McNulty, they just like to do it quietly, don't they? They're quite calm, composed kind of guys. And I just really, really hope a lot of National League fans and football fans in general take that into consideration, because they have been quietly fantastic, haven't they?
Yeah, top drawer, both of them really. Jim's shown loads of learning from last year. He's got a stronger, better team around him. He's got more strength and depth, and Rochdale consequently have been better, and they've got considerably more points. And in many, many, many seasons, the 99 points Rochdale have got already would be enough to win the league. And as we know, it hasn't been. But the battle goes on. And I think those of us neutrals, maybe, I'm looking at Ben and Dickie here, we may or may not have our favourite that we think will win or might win, or we want to win. But we, the neutrals, are hoping that whoever's ahead come the day, that it does go to that last day. That's what we want. And I think Jim said that, didn't he, after Friday's game? He said, this is what everybody wants, and he was very positive, I think, about the fact that this is where you want to be. You want to be, in such an exciting title race. It's just the fact that the jeopardy, the prize for the runner-up in this title race is frankly irritating the hell out of all of us, isn't it? Because it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Definitely. I just wanted to touch on this as well. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic from York. The home crowd, 8,000 home fans. That is honestly brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's not doing anything good for me sleeping pattern, this anyway. I'm not a great sleeper anyway, but it's completely doing me in the title race. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to really quickly, guys, go to Luke because he has put his match report in. It's just quickly so I don't lose it because you know what I'm like. So we do have Gateshead 2, Scunthorpe United 0. So Scunthorpe at home, an absolutely amazing and dominant performance over other team in the playoffs. We wanted it more and we got it all. One win to go till safety with 3 games to go. Here's also put, great save by the Scunthorpe defender as well, trying to deny the second goal for us. Got sent off for that and the pen was dispatched. From being bottom of the table, 11 points below safety to 8 points above the relegation zone, it's absolutely unheard of. This turnaround cannot put this into words. We have a very happy Luke, and so we should be as well.
It is a great save by Ross Barrows. I have to say, having seen it. At least what he didn't do was drop to the floor and try to pretend that it did him in the chest or anything like that. He took his meds and knew he'd handled it, and off he went.
I love that. He just owned it.
I think it's fair to say that Gateshead's turnaround is comparable to Boston's last year.
Yeah,
there was definitely a time where we all said, well, we're not sure all 4 teams that are going down, but they're going down. And we were talking about Gateshead. They were on that long run where they didn't win a game in something teen games. And we wrote them off like we wrote Boston off last year, so fair play to them. It's a fantastic turnaround, and I hope they're cracking good form ends next weekend.
Yeah, I just think as well, like, if obviously they do manage to get it over the line, which they should do, I don't think I think it would take a miracle for them to be put back into that bottom 4. But I almost feel like this is almost the revival of Gateshead again, because obviously they've been on the cusp of playoffs for the last few years. Obviously denied 1 year, obviously with all everything that's going on with the council on the ground. I almost feel like now Rob Elliott can really take this to the next level again and put them back into that top 7 again. If they recruit right in the summer and keep hold of the players they need, because they've got that momentum. And, I think Rob summed that up perfectly. I think it is basically like what Boston did last year. Because they didn't like Gateshead. I think they'd lost 10 in a row at one point. And, we're thinking there is just no way back for them. This is like almost a great game. And also still having, been 8 points clear with 3 games to go still. That's incredible, what they've done this second half of the season. And everyone, players, backroom staff there deserve a massive pat on the back for what they've put into it, because it is an astonishing achievement if they do manage to see this through. Definitely
agree. Rob, do you want to talk Aldershot?
Yes, I'll get it out of the way. A really odd game today at Grosvenor Vale. We didn't know what to expect because Wealdstone had won 7-0 and been spanked 5-1 by 4 of them. And the truth of the matter is, Aldershot played really well in the first 20 minutes. They forced 4 saves from Dante Baptiste, including 2 in the first minute. But in the second minute, Wealdstone broke down the other end and Dom Hutchinson scored a cracking goal. We all thought he was going to square it, but he just shot near post. And I think Boyce Clark, as a keeper, looked, and he's a good keeper. He sort of looked and set himself ready for the shot, and it was by him already. It was unbelievable, really. In my research for the game, I'd noticed that this season, Wealdstone have something like a 64-65% lead retention rate. When they do take the lead, they hang on to it.
Yeah.
The majority of the time. And when they go behind, they don't have a great record of leveling. So we'd kind of done the analysis before the game and we said first goal wins, and then bang, Aldershot go effort, save. Wealdstone down the other end score. And bizarrely, that's exactly how it played out, because from minute 2 to minute 80, Wealdstone weren't overly ambitious in the game. They were strong, physical, big, and Aldershot huffed and puffed. Aldershot's kind of run out of ideas and run out of steam, and they haven't done that much this year. Full credit to Wealdstone for knocking the stuffing out of them like they did. And even when John Coleman went to his bench and he brought on Kwame Thomas and he brought on Josh Barrett, Aldershot just couldn't really get a foothold in that game. They lost their way, and Wealdstone, Gary Waddock was able to bring on Olamola, was able to bring on Ashley Nathaniel George on loan from York. And these guys are all fighting to prove a point that they want to be in the team ideally, but maybe at least on the bench for the FA Trophy final. And they are all highly motivated. And they scored 2 more brilliant goals, 87 and 90. put a lot of gloss on the finish for Wealdstone. There's, I think even Wealdstone fans would admit that is a very flattering scoreline for the game that played out in front of them. But listen, if you're Aldershot, you couldn't score in 95 minutes today, and you let 3 in, so you can't really have any complaints about that. John Coleman didn't really. Terrific win for Wealdstone. That means back-to-back home games, scored 10, conceded none. We'll ignore the little 5-1 defeat at Boreham Wood in between. But I did see Gary. Viewers will probably know Gary was the manager at Aldershot for many years. He's the manager that got Aldershot back into the Football League. So had a lovely couple of minutes just catching up with Gary, and congratulated him on the win, and said, wished him all the best for Wembley. And that was probably the highlight of my day, because the game got worse and worse. It's a spectacle. It got worse and worse from Aldershot's point of view of getting anything from it. And Wealdstone, final point from me, just a lovely club. I've never heard a bad word said about Wealdstone. Ben might have heard the odd one at the odd time. I don't know when he's been in that league, but terrific club. One of 3 that are not fully full-time in the National League. And I tell you what, they have got one heck of a custodian in Gary Waddick, and I wish them well.
I love the selection of away fans that travel all the time with Wealdstone. It's like the same group of lads that come all the time to obviously our place, and it's so much fun. They'll all come in the Dale bar, what's actually part of the ground, and there's such a laugh as well. I've got quite a few of them on Twitter from meeting up with some of them and stuff, and honestly, they have the best banter, even when we have been beating them, and even when we have won at times, they just never give up singing, and they have such banter and a good attitude. So yeah, they're travelling away fans that have met Wealdstones are just fantastic. Really, really good lads. Yeah, really good lads. Dickie, I will come to you. Is there any you want to talk about on this slide?
Just looking at today's results, I had a look at Solihull's rebound from that Tamworth result was quite notable, wasn't it? Particularly against a side as good as Boreham Wood. And it's been a real shot in the arm for them to get Joe Sabara back this season. He was one of the scorers today. Darius Lipsiak got 2, and Lewis Baines scoring as well. And we spoke about James Clark back playing against his old club. He was booked for Boreham Wood, so not ideal for him. And there was a late consolation goal for Landers, who's on loan from West Ham in that game. But yeah, that's I suppose you've always got that possibility, over this Easter weekend that you can rebound quickly with another game coming up on Monday, and Solihull have done that bit. So yeah, credit to them for that one. I say we know that Truro have gone, unfortunately, so their point didn't really count for an awful lot other than pride. But it is nice to see them, still competing. I always think, you've got to think about the credibility of the league, haven't you? Yeah. And as well, and you've got to continue to go out there and give it your best, even though you might be down. I'm also having a look at Halifax's game with Tamworth, because I think Halifax probably the only team that can catch Southend for that last playoff spot, I would think. I'm not sure they're going to make it either. And they were struggling a bit today when they conceded to Stefan Moles. He's one of those players that I was thinking of when we were speaking about Andy Peakes' recruitment in the summer. They found themselves 2-1 down, then got some Turner, Cook and Smith. But Ollie Lynch, he's been another regular scorer from Tamworth. And that's got to be a disappointing result for Halifax, really. Given the position they're in, they need 3 points from that one, don't they? And to just collect a point, not really enough in any stretch of the imagination. But again, Adam Lakeland doing a really, really good job with Halifax. I know they made it into the playoffs last season and then endured that absolutely awful first 20 minutes or so against Oldham, where they found themselves 4-0 down. So I'd imagine the playoffs probably bring them out in a sweat, but they'd rather be in them to have the chance than to go to do that again than not. But I don't think they're going to make it.
They missed a penalty as well, didn't they, Halifax?
Just having a look through as well.
I'm
I
sure it
think
was
they
quite
did. Yes,
late.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was a sending off really late in that one, which I assume was the concession of the penalty.
Yeah.
Luke Fairlamb for Tamworth sent off in that one, and then Will Harris. I think it would have been a 22nd goal of the season for him had he converted, but he missed. So yeah, or certainly failed to convert. I don't know whether he missed or whether that's a Jazz Singh save. I'm sure I'll have Jazz after me if he did manage to save it. And I've not given him the credit for that one because I know Jazz well. But yeah, I suppose that just further compounds the disappointment for Halifax in that, you're given a golden opportunity to try and win it in stoppage time and don't take it. I think when those kind of things happen, maybe not in the minds of players, but certainly in the minds of supporters, you begin to think, this may not be our season. We there's too many things conspiring against us here. And as I say, I think Southend are probably going to be the team that makes it. They had a really, really good win today as well, 3-0, 2 goals for Gus Scott Morris there. I just had to check up on how many goals Gus Scott Morris has got again this season. I think that took him to 13 for the season. His goal scoring record for a fullback is absolutely astonishing. Yeah, and I love his Instagram stories as well. He's giving that little insight. He's a genuine, feels like a genuine character in a football world that maybe doesn't have quite so many of those these days. But yeah, I do like Gus Scott Morris as a player. We know, Rob and I know that Joe from our own podcast has long been an admirer of Gus Scott Morris, hasn't he?
He has, and it's phenomenal now. 33 goals, I think, in less than 2 seasons. I can't think of a player that is as goal hungry as him in the National League.
No.
Yeah. So you've got Ollie Pearce, who's the top scorer, but Ollie Pearce, to be fair, can be incredibly unselfish. Do you know what I mean? And he'll set other players up. And but Scott Morris has a ridiculous appetite to score goals. He'll make bursting runs. He's got an instinct to know where to be. And I had him as captain in my National League fantasy team today.
Love it.
Double points. Well done, Gus Scott Morris, top man.
Can we just shout out as well the other goal scorer? Slavis Spazov obviously scoring the first goal for Southend, because it's someone who obviously we spoke about for Slough last season, obviously, and we've seen obviously him transition for where he's been at Southend, and I'm just really happy he's on the score sheet as well, because he's someone who I really do like, Slavis Spazov, not only as a player, but he seems like a really genuine guy as well, when obviously I've spoke to him them couple of times. So yeah, fantastic guy. But is there anything else anybody wants to touch on? I know, Ben, we've not actually come to you, but we seem to have covered quite a lot. So I just I felt really rude.
No, you're all right. I think the only one I would have probably said was Eastleigh, actually, because it's a huge win for them. 2 more goals for Aaron Blair, taking his I think that's to 17 now in the National League this season. And I think ultimately his goals are keeping them up, really, because, like they've 55 goals and he's got 17 of them, and he contributes so much. Obviously as a player, obviously I know really well. When he's not scoring goals, he's still been very much involved in the attack. He's still very much setting them up, and always makes the right decision. He does. So, I'm really, really pleased for him. And I think that win, had they not got a victory today, they'd probably they've had Brackley breathing down their necks. But I think that win probably keeps them in the division, because I just think 7 points in the last 3 games is going to be too much for Brackley to make up, and that's obviously with Eastleigh not picking up another point. That's the thing. So yeah, that's probably a big relief for them and for Richard Hill as well. Because relegation would have been disastrous for a club of their stature. Given the finances that they are used to usually. But no, that's a big win for them. So love my Arab there. Well done to them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. 17 goals, isn't it? The only other mention from me, Sean, unless you particularly wanted to cover it, but I want to say about Morecambe. At this stage, to pick up 4 points over Easter against Rochdale and Carlisle, that's insane. Especially as they were almost condemned to a very likely relegation, just a week before when they lost late on. And Yeah, they threw away another lead in this game. They were ahead, and then they found themselves 2-1 down, but they had the guts and the quality to get level, and it was your man, Liam Hogan, who got the goal. And do you know what? I know this is after the horse has bolted, but the horse didn't bolt quick enough, did it? And you have to say now, if Morecambe had the strength of mind to make a managerial change, even so much as a month earlier, I think they'd have had a fighting chance of getting something together, like Gateshead have. All right, it's been like this for Morecambe, but there's been some highs. There's been a lot of goals scored. There's been, some really good moments in there, and they're going to end up coming agonisingly close, like probably Brackley are as well. But it must be so frustrating after such a difficult summer and not knowing if they'd have a football club, and then everything looked like it was going to be fine. Give us till October and we'll have a really good side, one of the best in the league. And it just didn't happen. And sometimes clubs get rid of managers too soon. This is the worst case for me that I can remember in recent years of a club hanging on to a manager too long. And they're going to pay the price for it.
I agree. It's sad, isn't it? It's really sad because since Jim Bentley's come in, even when it's like when Jen spoke as well, and some of the other Morecambe fans, even when they've lost, they've shown some sort of fight and shown some sort of togetherness. And it's such a shame they didn't make it like a month or so earlier, because I just think with Jim Bentley as well, and I don't know if any of you have had the pleasure of meeting Jim Bentley. I obviously have from when he was a Rochdale manager. He's such a fantastic guy. He's so honest, but he's such a likable guy as well, and he genuinely cares for this football club, and you can see it. And even though obviously what happened with Rochdale, some of our fans obviously piled on him, not at the game on Friday, but on social media and stuff. He still spoke with dignity, and he still spoke so highly about Rochdale, complimented us so much. And he's just that kind of guy, Jim Bentley. And I really, really hope he does stay at Morecambe, if they do. And it's looking as if that is going to happen. It's not mathematically happened yet, has it? But just through other teams and stuff, it does look likely that it will happen. If they do get relegated to National League North, I really do hope Jim Bentley stays, because I feel like that is exactly what they need. It's going to be tough in National League North. It's going to be really tough, and I think people, and Morecambe fans in particular, need to realise it's going to be tough as well, because even some of the ones I've spoke to, they are sure that they will come straight back up, and it's not like that, is it, in non-league? It's so tough. But regardless of that, I think if they do stick with Jim Bentley, they've got someone there who cares. They've got someone there who obviously it can still attract very, very good players, especially at that level. I know obviously he's managed Southport. It didn't quite work out, but he's got those connections and stuff with him. But they've just got someone there who will try their absolute best, and they won't Ashvir Singh. And I don't want to criticise him too much, but it just made it so complicated. Jim Bentley has come back in and made it so simple. He stuck to the simple things. And I feel like sometimes when you're struggling, you just need that bit of simplicity, don't you? And stability.
Yeah, good points. Well made, Shah. What do you think, Dickie, just in terms of Morecambe, if they're likely to be in the National League North next year? You'll have seen some pretty big clubs come down to that level and think they're going to get straight back up, and it's not that easy, is it?
No. Certainly do. And I mean, one of them is one of the teams that's going head to head for the title in the National League now. York City, they languished in National North for about 5 seasons. Saw Stockport County do the same. Saw Scunthorpe do the same. And I say this season after season, I said this about my own team, Telford, when we were relegated to Step 3. The biggest mistake you can make is to say that we're too big to be here. Yeah. We shouldn't be here. I think you've got to be brave enough to look to face the reality and go, we're here because we've not been good enough. And if we're going to get out of this, it's going to require everybody to up their levels considerably. That's supporters, that's players, that's everyone. And I was, funny enough, I was thinking about this earlier in terms of the title for in National League North, because Telford potentially, dropping out of contention today. And there's already some fans saying, oh, we can gear up for promotion push next season. I'm thinking, well, because we've gone close to the playoffs this year, it doesn't guarantee anything. You're going to have two teams go up. It's going to be either Fylde or South Shields. If it's not one of those, then your next best, well, possibly Kidderminster or Macclesfield. Only two of those four are going to go up. So you're going to have at least two of those there again next season. If your Macclesfield are there, they've bolstered by a huge amount of income that they've had this season from their FA Cup run. So they're going to chuck money at it to get out next season, I would think. I don't know what's going to happen with Kings Lynn as to whether they're going to stay full-time. But there are some big clubs throwing a lot of money at it to get out of National League North, and Morecambe will not find that easy if that's where they find themselves next season. I think you're right about Jim Bentley. I think Jim Bentley's been around the block. He knows football. I think he's also got a sense of perspective on things as well. I mean, with his own personal health issues and his heart, bypass and things like that he's had recently. There's a bit of you that, when he came back into football, I thought, is this really the right place for Jim to be with it being such a stressful environment? But in some senses, he can look at football perhaps through a different lens and go, it isn't a matter of life and death. He's been close to that door and stepped back from it. And, football, maybe isn't so much to be so worried about these days. He's done a great job in taking over at Morecambe. And I think you're right about Ashford Singh. I think the ownership there, I applaud them wanting to stand by their man. But I think we all felt when they made that appointment that the thing that Morecambe needed more than anything was somebody with experience, and they just went for the complete opposite. And I think we all kind of went, this isn't going to end well. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be proven right.
So sad.
Ashford Singh does have good experience, and I get that he's a highly respected coach, but you've also got to think about the players that you're working with. Are they going to be able to take those kind of ideas on board that perhaps he's cultivated higher up with players when you're working with a better quality of player? And if, the simplicity that someone like a Jim Bentley would bring to it, and let's just get the basics right, is probably more what you need, in my view.
I completely agree with you, Dickie. Completely agree. This comment made me laugh from Graham. He's a Charlton fan, so he hates Crystal Palace. So every week on this show, he'll give out a shout out to Macclesfield for beating them in the FA Cup. So this is his weekly shout out to them.
Yeah, fair enough. When I mentioned about that Wealdstone 7, Hartlepool 0 being the result of the season, I did forget that game. Macclesfield 2, Palace 1. Yeah.
I think that's everything then, isn't it? Should we have a look at the table, or can anybody else think of anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think we probably all need a long down and prepare ourselves for another weekend at it, because it's going to be just like this next week as well, Are
you sure nobody else wants to prolong it so I don't have to look at this table? I'm only joking. I just wanted to point out to everyone as well, Morgan has been celebrating that York win. I haven't banned him from the podcast. I did just want to point that out. But Morgan has been celebrating that York win, and so we should as well. So we should. So top of the table.
But it's fair to say we're relieved, aren't we?
I know.
He's got a bit too much, yes.
I think he has, bless him. But yeah, like I said, so we should. You only live once, don't you? And York are top. So top of the table, we do have York City on 101 points. So congratulations to York. That is absolutely amazing. The fact that they have now officially got that 101 points. The first team to do that this season. So fantastic for them. Second, we do have Rochdale, obviously on 99 points. Carlisle United third on 86 points. Boreham Wood are fourth on 81 points. Scunthorpe United are fifth on 78 points. And I just wanted to point out as well, those teams have qualified now for the playoffs. So that is absolutely fantastic. Sixth place, we do have Forest Green on 75 points. Southend United are 7th on 71 points. And then in the relegation zone, 21st, we do have Brackley Town on 39 points. 22nd, we do have Morecambe on 38 points. And then we do have 2 relegated teams. So Braintree are 23rd on 36 points. They have been relegated. And Truro City, bottom of the National League, also have been relegated and they have 31 points. Right, let's see what happens here. I thought the layout would change. But yes, that is the end of our collaboration with NL Fulltime. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on and giving up. Do you know what? I think we've done it in good timing, considering we had so much to cover.
Double game week, 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Double game week. That's very, very good. But thank you so much for joining us. Rob, I will come to you. Where can everybody find NL Fulltime and also your socials as well?
Yeah, NL Fulltime is the name of the podcast. It's generally out on a weekly basis. We did give advance notice that we haven't done one this weekend, but we've doubled up on this podcast. So we've pointed everybody to it. But yeah, any podcast platform, NL Fulltime.
Love that. Love that. Dickie, thank you so much for joining us. Like I say, it's always a pleasure when you come on because I feel like you've got the knowledge of the National League North that we try to do, but you do it complete justice.
Well, it's very kind of you to say so. No, it's been enjoyable to be on. And yeah, if people are looking for me, I mean, I am on socials at Books Writer on pretty much all of them, I think, under that same handle. Although, to be fair, the place I'm doing the most at the moment is probably with BBC Radio Shropshire. So if anybody doesn't have a game this weekend and fancies tuning in to, we've got a game at Peterborough Sports and then, yeah, 2 more to come after that. But yeah, that's where I seem to be spending most of my time at the moment.
Love that. Love that. And Ben, I hope you're much calmer now after discussing that 5-4 game. You seem a little bit more chilled now and relaxed, but where can everybody find you and your fantastic work?
I mean, I'm looking forward to a good night's sleep, to be honest, after today. So. But it's Ben Stones FC1 on Twitter if anyone wants to find me.
Love that. And if anybody does want to find me, I am SharXREFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. My YouTube channel as well is Ball and All with Shar. I am going to do a Let's Talk Rochdale. I just thought I would postpone it until there was a couple of games to talk about. I've not chickened out of it, don't you all worry, but I will be doing one probably on Sunday, so I've got 3 games to cover on that one. But of course, we do have the main socials. We are the Absolute Football Podcast. On Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube and Twitch, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. TikTok, Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football. And on Facebook, we have the Absolute Football Podcast. And we have 4 live shows a week. So on a Monday, you all know the score. We are here on a Monday at 8:30 in collaboration with NL Fulltime, talking all things National League, National League North, National League South. I'm hoping I'll be a little bit happier next week, but who knows? Who knows? Tuesday, instead of Premier League football this week, we do have Sam, Grimmy and myself. We are doing a Champions League watch along. I'm hoping Sam tells me which one because he put it in a group chat before and I cannot remember. I think possibly Bayern Munich, Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's not a Man United game, unfortunately, Sam, not this season.
Oh. Maybe next, though, maybe next. And on a Wednesday, Absolutely Women's Show with Freya and Team Chaos. They talk WSL and WSL2. And I am back. Guys, it's another double game week, but in the EFL this week. I am getting my hours in this week on the podcast, so we will be talking Championship, League 1, League 2, and also covering the Port Vale Chelsea game and that Southampton win against Arsenal we will be talking about too. But yes, I just want to say thank you so, so much to each and every person that has tuned in this evening. It's always a pleasure talking football with you. I was right. But yes, it's always a pleasure talking football with you all. Hope you all have a fantastic week, a fantastic weekend, and we shall see you next Monday. Bye, everybody.